just coming back to dust load, we have another product. It's the same cooling pad, but we put an edge coating onto it. You'll see it's about 25 millimeters in, and it's just, this is the air on side, so it just makes it a little bit more rigid. The way I can explain it is if you had to throw water onto the cooling pad over here, it would absorb in. But if you threw water onto here, it would run it off. So in higher dust load areas, we recommend that you put the Mighty Edge coating onto the actual evaporative cooling pad. Changes nothing in terms of efficiency, cooling, pressure drop, etc. Nothing.
Welcome everyone, this is MTech's Accelerate. My name is Nikolai Shitikhin. I have Jim Johnston here with me as usual, and we have Philip Dickinson. And we are in South Africa at Munter's facility. Thanks Philip for hosting us here.
Yep.
And it's good to be in South Africa. Thanks for a couple of days that we've been visiting farmers and integrators here, and now we're at this beautiful facility. So it's good to be here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think the last time we met was in COVID. And yeah, it's great to have you finally here. This was meant to kick off down at AVI a couple of years ago, but it never transpired. But it's really cool to have you guys here. And welcome to South Africa. We have been in this facility for probably up to 10 years now. Custom built for us, 2,500 squares, where we bring in a lot of our raw material from our intercompanies throughout the world. We assemble fans, all types of fans that we have, so we bring it in a raw kit form, as well as the evaporative cooling media, which we're going to chat about a little bit later. I think the uniqueness of Munter South Africa here is that we have the product available in a kit form. We can build as many fans as you need, that is on your quick demand, as well as the uniqueness that we have in terms of pad facilities, where we build the pads up. So we're the only company in South Africa at this stage, to our knowledge, that actually brings up. Lucy, wait, stop. Okay, that's a cock up. But we actually bring in the sheets and we manufacture the blocks and then sell out the pads at this stage.
So that gives you an advantage in terms of servicing the customer base here, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
so you've got stock to work off, and you're assembling the fans, for example. So you can satisfy a customer fairly quickly with orders.
Absolutely. When it comes to the hardware, the majority of the stuff we have in stock, the main moving types of equipment, as well as our controllers. You know, our controllers move as well, so we keep a large inventory of controllers, and then obviously the large inventory of evaporative cooling, as well as the fans.
So lots of spare parts are coming from different areas of the world, and you store them and then you assemble the whole pieces together in here, ready to be shipped to the end customer.
That's correct, yeah. It is a challenge because, you know, we're buying from different business units. We put all the bits and pieces together and we ship out dependent on demand. As I said, I mean, we're up to about 50 to 60 fans a day that we can build. That's on the EM50s, the old box fans. The newer generation of fan is slightly different. There's a little bit more of an integral type of assembly criteria that's needed, so we get down to about 20 of those a day. But yeah, we ship out and we don't have many comebacks, which I think is a positive.
Right.
For us.
And this one behind us, it's the new one, or it's a
no? This is a EMS50. So in other words, it's a box fan. It's a box fan. It's a 1.5 horsepower, and it has a louver. It doesn't have a louver. Apologies. It's got a mesh on either sides. So they put those in sort of larger layer houses just to move a little bit of air, just remove that stratification of air that's happening inside various houses. You can also, if people have these type of fans, you can also add on a louver, so you can make it from a circulation fan into a box fan that has a louver that will shut and open.
All right, brilliant. So maybe we can now move to the production area, assembly line, so you can tell us a little bit more about the fans and the cooling pads.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got the cooling pad line, so we build the pad, we build a block. From the block we produce a pad, so dependent on what, but we'll run through the various pads and the various applications that the certain pads can do.
And I'm really excited about this because I've never seen a cool pad being made before, so I'm interested in the process. But of course, Munters were the original founders or designers of the first cool pads. Evaporative cooling
that's
system.
correct. Yeah, Carl Munters, which is our innovative owner or owner of the past. He did a lot of sort of science in laminar flow technology, and cooling technology was one of those things that he put together. So yeah, we've got some good old photos of the old cell deck. And yeah, let's go and have a look at the...
All right, brilliant. Let's go see it.
Let's go see.
We're going to talk a little bit about the materials used for the pad manufacture.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
show us.
Yeah, this is cell deck. That's the trade name, called cell deck. It's a cellulose-based material, impregnated with all the chemicals and the bits and pieces. We get them in a sheet form, as you see here. We get a 1.2 meter, 1.5, 1.8 and a 2 meter. And we can cut to whatever thickness or whatever determination the client is needing. As I mentioned in a meeting that we had with other people earlier, we do various sizes of cooling pad. We've got a 70-60 pad, which I'll go into the specifics of that. We do a 70-90 pad, also the specifics, as well as a 50-90 pad. Also, Jim, you'll see that there's two different colors. The reasoning behind that coloring is we used to do a solid brown pad. Now we do a green pad, and that's primarily because of identification to see that it is a Munters pad.
Okay, so green means Munters.
Munters is green, yeah.
Okay, got you. Good. So from here we go down to the actual manufacture process area within your plant. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. We're, like as I said, we are unique in the respect that we bring the sheets in, we build the pad into a block. From the block we produce a pad to whatever size, height, whatever application you need.
The only one manufactured in South Africa.
To my knowledge, yes.
Let's go and have a look.
All right. No, we've moved away through the process because it's a little bit noisy down there. But I think what we saw slightly earlier was the sheets. So we bring the sheets in, as I said, from an intercompany. We build a block, we cure the block. From the block, we produce a pad, and this is the final product.
Okay.
As I mentioned briefly over there, we have three different types of pad that we utilize here in South Africa. One is 70-90, one is 70-60, and the other one is 50-90. If I can just touch on 50-90 quickly, the reason we use this, it's an extremely high efficiency pad, okay?
Yeah.
5090, the 5 is the flute height, okay, and the 90 is the bisecting angle. You'll see that this one here is a 45 degree, very high in
you can see
efficiency.
through. Like on,
You can certainly see through. Some interesting fact about this is 1 cubic meter of cell deck can absorb 100 liters of water from
Wow.
wet to dry, which is pretty cool. And I'm well aware, I read something in one of the older books from a Munters catalogue that the surface area of 1 cubic meter is the size of 5 Olympic swimming pools. So that's the air-water contact
Ratio,
you're
yeah.
getting
Yeah.
on the evaporative cooling pad. The cool thing about this one is it's highly efficient. Only problem is it's got quite a high pressure drop, so it's used more in HVAC applications as opposed to more agric type of applications. This is a pad called 70-60. You'll see it's a 6-inch pad, right? 7, the flute height is 7 millimeters, that's
Yep.
where we get it. You can see the green and the brown identification. The bisecting angle on this is 45 and 15. So in other words, it bisects at your 60 degrees. 70-90, same again, 7 millimeter, but it bisects. It's a 60 degree, 30 degree bisecting at 90 degrees.
all right, so now there is this section of Accelerate where I start asking silly questions. So all these angles and flute heights, what are they affecting? The amount of air they pass through and amount of water they can absorb, or what is the technical difference in terms of efficiency?
In the past, we here in South Africa, we used to always use a 4-inch pad. The quantity of air inside a poultry house would be at a set quantity. So what we had to do is, to get the maximum efficiency out of the cooling pad, we had to run it 1.5 meters a second. What that did is it gave us a longer dog box area Okay, so it gave us 25 pascals in terms of resistance normally, which was the sweet spot, and then the other sweet spot was the cooling efficiency that the pad could actually produce, which is around about 70 to 75% in terms of wet bulb depression. Then what happened is the guys wanted the same amount of air going through the house, but they wanted to reduce the dog box area. So with reducing the dog box area, we had to go with a slightly bigger pad or thicker pad.
Yeah.
And we had to, but what that would do is the air would be the same, but the velocity would be higher. So
Right.
this we're running at an optimum of about 2 meters a second, but we're still getting the 70% saturation efficiency and still pulling the drag of 25 pascals off the fan. So smaller area, slightly thicker pad, same cooling efficiency, same pressure drop.
In surface area, I guess, in terms of...
That's it, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then another silly question, right? They are made of paper
Yes.
or specially designed paper, right?
Yes.
But still paper. How it is not dissolving with the water? Because I know if you put paper in water, it kind of loses all of its shape and everything.
Yeah, as I mentioned with the sheets, it's impregnated with certain chemicals. As I said, I don't know what it is. The glue is a soluble glue, so it's a water-based glue, which gives the pad its integrity. I think that's where Munters has also stood the test of time. You know that we've not changed the formula on our cooling pad, and we've had longevity. We have very stringent quality issues that we put in place, so we don't, you know, and if any of our pads do deteriorate, we go and do water analysis and those type of things and see what has gone wrong, because under normal circumstances and putting normal borehole water or any sort of type of hard or soft water, the pad should manage it. You
Right.
know, the pad is just a mechanical, an inert mechanical thing that just transfers the cooling of the air.
Okay, cool. And how long they last?
How long is a piece of string? It's also dependent on quality of water maintenance on the farms, etc., etc. But we've had pads in greenhouses, we've had pads in poultry houses, 5, 7, 10 years. We've had pads that have collapsed after 1.5 years, you know, because of high dust loads, etc., etc. Just coming back to dust load, we have another product. It's the same cooling pad, but we put an edge coating onto it. You'll see it's about 25 millimeters in, and it's just, this is the air on side, so it just makes it a little bit more rigid. The way I can explain it is if you had to throw water onto the cooling pad over here, it would absorb in. But if you threw water onto here, it would run it off. So in higher dust load areas, we recommend that you put the Mighty Edge coating onto the actual evaporative cooling pad. Changes nothing in terms of efficiency, cooling, pressure drop, etc. Nothing.
So it's just the coating that makes the magic.
Yes, it's. I mean, you can feel it.
Yeah,
Bloody
it's harder.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It must be really interesting, Philip. I mean, I've never seen them made before. You know, I've used them all over the world, and we've fitted them in projects all over the world. I've never actually seen them being made from a sheet of paper to this finished article. So that's been really interesting for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think, you know, I get quite excited, specifically with the 5090 pad. I remember I was in we used to use this for grape pre-cooling. You know, so pre-harvest, so where they pull the off and they just want to remove the heat. And we were in Uppington in Carcamas, and I'm without a shadow of a doubt, it was 42 degrees outside, and we were getting temperatures straight off the pad. 100 millimeter was 18 degrees inside the pack shed.
Yeah.
So from 42 degrees down to 18. That's an amazing piece of equipment.
Yeah, impressive technology, and that's why it's so popular.
Yeah. I mean, people go with the misting systems, etc. The problem is we can calculate the theoretical calculation on this. We can tell you if it's X and Y, wet and dry bulb temperatures. Wet and dry bulb temperatures, we can give you a theoretical calculation that this is what you're going to get after the cooling pad.
So Philip, we've kind of moved into the assembly line here within your operation. So
Yeah.
what's happening here? Just quickly explain.
This is our fan assembly line. So as I mentioned earlier, we can do about 50 to 60 EM50s or EM36s, our normal traditional box fans. It gets a little bit difficult when it comes to the newer platform that we've done, the Saturn 1. So we use this as a dual function scenario. I showed you the pads that we dip. So when we need to dip pads, this becomes a dipping station as well. We have some fans that just kind of speed up the process in terms of drying of the pads. But yeah, all the assembly is done, pre-assembly of the bits and the pieces, the louvers, the bearings, etc. And then the boxes are filtered out. We do all the testing, so we check that all the mechanisms on the fan are opening, the louvers, etc. The fan is running in the right direction, if it's a 3-phase motor.
Okay, so thoroughly tested here before they get to the customer.
Correct, yeah, and it's all written and it's all documented on the side of the fan that you will see. It gives you the dates. We also inscript on the motors to see when the motors were actually assembled and put into the fans themselves. So yeah, that's us. That's Munster, South Africa.
Brilliant. Thanks, Philip, for taking us around and showing us the production here and there. We'll put some footage in as we go, and it's been great, and it's been great to see each other in person, because last time we did Accelerate podcast, it was September 2020.
Yes.
So a long time ago, during the lockdown, nobody could go anywhere. So it's really nice to be this week in South Africa, visiting some customers and some farmers with you, and of course seeing this facility.
Yeah, thank you, and it's great to hook up with you guys. We said let's get it done. As we mentioned, this was meant to happen at AVI. It never transpired, but you can clearly see that we've got a pretty good operation here. It's the customer at the end of the day that needs to benefit from having stock on hand and into the farms and running. So it's great to have you guys here. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you for hosting us. And for those who don't want to miss new episodes, please follow us on social media. We are on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, and also follow us on the website. And we'll see you in the next episode.